Hey, how's it going, everyone? So I just want to do a quick video. I might do a couple, but I just came off of Jose JG Gonzalez's hangout. Um, Interesting as always. Um, Flat Earth, the Bible, uh, financial deception, all these things are on my mind, and I was able to discuss them even for a brief moment. But it got me thinking again. Just if this were to remain uninterrupted and continue on for the next year or two or three, without interruption from the government or something like the mark of the beast or the second coming and all these big things. But the thing that I suspect will start happening, just because our whole society and really our entire economy and definitely financial markets revolves around gambling. I thought, like, sort of a funny, not a funny way, but like a friendly way to bet, and not for profit, but like just for both sides to, like, for me personally, like if there was literally a button right here that said, of the money that you have, how much of it would you be willing to bet to get an answer, like now? And I would pick, everything. I would put everything I have except for maybe a year's worth of savings that I would gamble, just to be cautious. Not that I'm not confident in it, just to like have a buffer. But I would put everything, minus, 6 months to a year's worth of, money to live off of. And so, I think would probably happen if this were to continue, and I don't want it to go this way. Obviously, I feel like this could be solved with our own assets, government things, which are ours as a people, military and otherwise. We could solve this thing, in the next few hours if you give us a couple of drones and how to work it, and then, lasers, cameras, some things to suspend from it, all that. Like, you could literally come up with thousands of tests, not just the one that I proposed, with just, those handful of sophisticated tools, equipment, and then this would be solved. But, I don't want to complain about that. But so now us, like peons, us, slaves to this beast system, what we could do is, what I would do if somebody like that I knew was like serious and wanted to like really brainstorm something, is like come up with a mutually agreed upon test, whatever that may be. Try and keep the cost down so both people don't, so one side doesn't lose their shirt over it. But you come up with a test that both people agree would be conclusive, and you can do it a few times in different places, and that would be part of the agreement, in different conditions, just to kind of average things out, or that type of thing. However the agreement is made, and then both sides split the cost to get the test done, and it's run by an independent agency. It's not like in the physical hands of either of the group. They're just getting the results back from an independent agency. And then they may not even necessarily need to know why it's happening. They just need to report back the results. And then, the loser has to pay the winner their portion. So they just come out even. But then the loser, the cool thing I would think about something like this kind of bet, this form of gambling, which I don't promote in any way, biblically or otherwise. But again, we're in a system that everything is betting and gambling. Like literally the entire stock market is betting. And then the problem is the house, which are the central banks, manipulate the stock values through the corporate media, through fake stories, through insider trading, through buybacks and all that kind of stuff. But that's another discussion. So, but fundamentally, this whole world, this whole system that I feel God has made is a casino anyway. So just in the quote unquote spirit of that. So two sides, ball earther, flat earther, say the answer is worth, I'm going to put a number, 10K for both sides. And that number would be more reasonable. I've quoted 25K, but I would say, if I lost 10K over the shape of the earth, I would be able to recover from that. And then in a way it would be very freeing for me personally, because then, if I did get something concrete that, I could reference regularly going forward as either proof of flat earth or disproving it, that's wonderful for me. And I would obviously come up with a rigorous test, because me and others have the Bible at stake. And so, if I won, quote win and the earth is flat, it's obviously not, the shape's not changing, but let's just say the test proves that it's flat, reaffirms that it's flat, then to me, again, it gives the Bible a huge pat on the back, and then makes me even more confident that, we're living in the end times. And then, the narrative that's being fed to us from all different directions is completely false and serving an end times narrative and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously God exists. And so I thought it was crazy that I was actually debating people who are flat earthers who still don't think that there's a creator, even with a flat earth. And so this to me is even more confusion and further evidence to me that the earth is indeed flat, because even the quote unquote truthers are not acknowledging God. Obvious, inferences, extrapolations from living on a flat stationary earth. So, but in the flip side, if it is a ball and I came up with a test, so I can't blame anybody else. I can't blame NASA. I can't blame a high school teacher. I can't blame anybody. It's like I came up with a test, and two sides agreed upon it, and an independent third party is conducting it and just giving us the results, and then preferably doing it in different locations over different days, and then getting some averaging out of potential errors. And so then it's clear, maybe the government isn't lying to us about everything, and then the earth at that point is very likely to be a ball. It is a ball as far as that test is concerned. And then I lose in this case 20,000 because I'm paying for the other person now, and so I'm out 20K. But there's some accountability, and there's something real and tangible, and then it's conclusive. Like I can kind of move on from this, and then move on from the Bible as well. And then I would then start using my energy to get in people's face who follow the Bible and choose to ignore the verses that clearly support that the earth is not spinning. It's flat, stationary, and there's a dome above us. And it's really suspended in three space by nothing but the will of God. And so, I would just direct my energy, whatever I have remaining, towards that. And honestly, that's sort of a less sort of day-to-day scarier thing for me. Like it's more of the usual. And then, I just get in front of religious people's face, which I have been kind of throughout my life, even though I've been one for many years too, been part of the problem. But it would be more of the same, and I can go back to sort of normal, quote unquote, normal life. But the implications are scary, even for flat earthers, being reaffirmed that the earth is flat in a very, very concrete way. And so, yeah, in that case, we would have not lost any money, we would break even. But, then we have to now deal with the reality that the earth is objectively flat, and it's proven. And we have another third-party agency that's confirming that. But the cool thing about this type of thing, that I think if it were to happen, is like it would create truth in a good way, because this is what would happen. Let's just, again, for the sake of argument, say that the earth is flat and someone were to engage me in a 10K bet on both sides, and then I quote unquote won, and then so I just get my 10K back. That person is now out 20K, and then but they have the instruments that were used for the test, given to them by the engineering firm or whatever. And so they can now go and use that against a baller, and say like, hey, are you willing to bet? And then they could quote unquote get their money back. And then the cool thing about this is like all you would be left with are the real government shills who are not stupid enough to bet on this. Only us serfs would do that. And then because a lot of them at the top know, what the real shape of the earth is. Obviously, everybody in the higher ranks of NASA know what it is. And the government and the Federal Reserve and all that kind of stuff. And so, then you would, these ballers, would then start sort of evangelizing for flat earth, and then bet people, and then ask for the same, type of test that was already done, because it would be rigorous if it's done well. And then, the third-party engineering firm could be trusted. And then the cool thing about that is you could actually engage other engineering firms, not just the original one, and then get a diversity that way and get more and more confirmation after the first 5, 6, 7 bets. It would be known, it's like if you again engage two people are engaged in this bet 5, 6, 7 times, and then one side keeps winning. I mean, that's a pretty, nice curve to bet on, and extrapolate from. If there's a stock like that, one after the other, year after year, it just keeps getting more and more money, and there's no stopping it, and it's just no competition in sight, and more people are reaffirming that, it's a valid investment. I mean, it's even better than that, because this is something that's not changing the shape of the earth, and very, very good investment to bet on. And so, it would basically go viral, and then the thing that the losing team would realize is that some people at the high up eventually, again, in this case, let's say it's flat, you would eventually run out of ballers to have the test for, or certain ballers just won't do it because they know that they don't know that it's a ball with any certainty. And then so you would get either people who just aren't sure, or you would get people who are not dumb enough to bet because they know that it's not true. And then sort of somebody would get left holding the 10K loss, or I guess in this case 20K loss, because it would be their own 10K, and then they'd have to have paid for somebody else's 10. So you'd have to run out of suckers basically who would be willing to take this bet. But something like that would be kind of cool. Like, it sounds very it's very tongue-in-cheek and very kind of capitalistic, but again, this is the society that we live in. And to me, again, it's like, I think more and more people are getting to the point where the debates are entertaining, and it's kind of fun and stuff, but this is not like a debate on even was 9/11 an inside job, which I know that is a very, very important topic in human history, recent human history, or was a JFK assassination staged or stuff like that. This is on a massive scale, this is I really wish that I had even more money to entice somebody than just 5 or 10K or something on that order. I'd be all in. I'd literally be all in if I was in a different position. And I think that it's not just me that has this mindset. There's lots of people now who are realizing, I feel like God is doing this, if the God of the Bible is real, that the God of the Bible is a flat earth God. And so to me, it's like I said, it would be definitely, I'd have to take a few days, to just digest the fact that, even if I quote unquote won, there would be a lot to really sort of think about, and would require introspection from all angles for all people on both sides, with either result. It's the implications are huge. And so, I just put that out there. I think that if, there's people are just going to stop debating things that we can't objectively get our hands on and reproduce. There's a time for that, and maybe there's still more time, another year or so, but eventually it's going to start getting to the point where people just kind of put their money where their mouth is, and again, there's enough technology out there, more than enough, to verify this in a rigorous way, in a repeatable way, in a removing all the nonlinearities and optics and all that kind of stuff, just something that, in my opinion, if I were to ever do this, or somebody would engage me with this, it's very likely it would require a drone, which might increase the cost of both sides coming to the table, but because we might need a military grade one. But even an engineering firm taking an off the shelf drone and then repurposing it to get close to military, if not at military grade level, doesn't seem impossible for me. It's I have a feeling they could have done that a while ago, but I think that's where we're at, in this, and it's kind of cool, it's kind of exciting. It's like gambling in Vegas, making a couple $100 here and there. The money is nice, but we ultimately know that we're going to blow it at some point, but even if it's a lot. But this to me is, what the Bible calls, another type of treasure. This is, to me, again, if flat earth is true, and I obviously believe that it is, gives the Bible a huge pat on the back. To me, 75 to 80% pat on the back. And then it looks like the Quran also supports flat earth. And then the Torah, by association, would as well. And then to me, the only thing that's remaining is the mark of the beast. And then the Bible is it, and then the kingdom of heaven that's promised to those that love God and, that love God, and do his will. There could potentially be something unspeakable, ahead for them. And so there's a lot at stake, and a lot of pain that people are going through in the current day. But to me, something like this, with kind of science being repurposed to support the existence of God, is an incredible thing, with powerful and immediate implications. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.